Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. Listen, I'm going to be here for a few minutes talking to you guys about 100 hours of coaching and what we've learned. It's been a crazy last 2 or 3 months for myself. If you have been following me on YouTube, you know I love to do lives. You know I love to do videos. I'm always on YouTube doing something. But in the last 3 months, the Lord has just kind of been taking me on a new direction, a new way. And the way I've been dealing with a lot of things is to go into one-to-one coaching. So the last 2 to 3 months, I've had over 100 hours of coaching, over 100 and I think 50 clients that I've dealt with in the last 2 months alone. And I compiled a list of things that have been faced. I've got about 7 of those things that I've seen consistently across the board in this particular season. Now, I do believe that the 7 things that I've come across are in conjunction with the areas that I've learned about and I know about, and that's to why people are also drawn to me in that space. But it's also because some of the things actually that, I think are prevalent within our generation and within people of our particular age group that were going through certain things. So here are the quick 7 things that I've been encountering in the last 100 hours of coaching. I'm going to break the 7 components down a little bit more as this goes on, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a conversation around some of the areas and as well, just to push. I want to be encouraging people to if you're experiencing it or you're going through something like that and you haven't reached out to me, I would love for you guys to reach out to me, because this is the season where I tell you now, I am putting as much work in. I'm not sleeping. I am just trying to put as much work in as possible to help as many people, as well going forward. All right. So here are 7 aspects that I have encountered. Number 1 is boundaries. Is the first one. I encountered boundaries quite a bit when it comes to relationships, right? So a lot of people had suffered with bad boundaries, and usually bad boundaries start with parental childhood and experiencing parents either being over assertive with their boundaries, or parents just just neglecting their children, and children avoiding or struggling to put up boundaries. And usually that stems from number 2, which is not being able to develop a voice, because as a child your voice wasn't allowed, you weren't encouraged, you weren't pushed. When you did speak up, your parent quashed you or neglected you, and that led you to a space where you didn't believe you had a voice, or if you did have a voice, you didn't believe you were able to say how you actually felt. So that's something I've been experiencing. The third one is often around self-worth, esteem, and value. And, a lot of people have gone through situations where their self-worth and self-value has been affected by what they've experienced, again, within childhood, and also within events that have happened in their teenage years, formative years, and going into their adult life as well. All right. So a lot of times when the self-worth, self-esteem, and the value, and how people misjudge their self-worth, and that creates actually actions that begin to play into their adult type relationships. Number 4 I've seen is relationship with God, and more specifically around the areas of making a decision. A lot of the coaching that I've done around relationship with God has been more around people making decisions. They've either got business, or they've got a relationship issue that they're trying to conform with God, or they're doing, I'm in a part of my life, God, where I want to go somewhere. What do I do? Right? That's what I've been dealing with a lot with when it comes to relationship with God, and it's been quite insightful and eye-opening to see that as well from clients. And there's been some great moments as well in the last 100 hours. Number 5 is emotional neglect, self-abandonment, and repressed emotions. Let me tell you this now. I love a good emotional wheel. If you know me, I love a good emotional wheel. Okay. If you've worked with me as a client, I love a good, I'm a pop out. If I can, I'm a pop out an emotional wheel. Okay. All right. And I love emotional wheel so much, you're going to get one right here. This is an emotional wheel. Okay. All right. And I pop this out on my clients, and I'll be like, hey, how do you feel right now? Tell me how you feel. And they'll look at the wheel, and then they begin to tell me how they feel. All right. Fear, surprise, happy, sad, disgust, anger. It's a really powerful tool for people. But a lot of times when I'm talking about emotional neglect, parents are emotionally neglectful. And a lot of times people don't even realize that it is neglectful. All right, because people don't want to admit that their parents have been neglectful of them, of their needs and their wants, and so this actually leads to people in adult lives and adult relationships to self-abandoning, and not being able to prioritize their actual needs and wants of people, and this also leads also to repressed emotions. So people suppress how they feel, because they feel shame. Now, I only just learned this myself, just as I'm studying more and watching a lot more practitioners and people who are coaching and people who are in the area of psychology. And I mean, I'm really, really, really watching a lot of videos. I'm starting to realize, okay, wow, shame is not even an emotion. I didn't even know. I thought shame was an emotion. Shame is not an emotion. Neither is envy. Neither is greed, right? These are things that we experience, though. Okay, these are very much things that we experience. Someone might say seven deadly sins. These are some of the things we experience, and they actually have physiological, oftentimes, responses. And so we repress our emotions quite a bit. When we do repress them, unfortunately, what happens is we do emotionally leak, and it does affect our behaviors in other areas, and cause us to be reactive when we want to be responsive in relationships. And if you want to know what reactive and responsive is, in a sense, when we talk about reactive, it means that there's a stimuli and then you react to it, or response, which means you're able to actually guide your action in response to the stimuli, whereas a reaction is it's instantaneous. You felt something, you reacted, whereas a response is a more considered, calculated approach to something. And when you're dealing with repressed emotions, a lot of times we tend to act in the reactive aspect because a lot of it's subconscious. Right, so we need to bring it to the consciousness. It's what we do a lot of the coaching, as well. So that's number 5. Number 6 has been, I guess this one has been silent anger. So let me just bring that up. Silent anger. And that has been around the areas of, because a lot of times people are dealing with a disappointment wound. They're dealing with wounds of disappointment of expectations, either from friends, family, loved ones, childhood, again, once more. And this can turn into what we call silent anger. So you're not necessarily an angry person, but your reactions can be very volatile because you're not realizing that your anger is coming from a place of disappointment and unmet expectations and needs in the past. I want to let you know, listen, your anger as well, this is something I've been talking to my clients about a lot. I want you to understand that your anger is not a bad thing. Anger is great. Anger is actually amazing. It is the lashing out that becomes an issue. So your anger isn't an issue, but your lashing out will be an issue because it usually ends in a behavior that's not conducive for the individual. Now, in amongst this as well, in amongst this particular aspect, when it comes to anger, I have this term that I say to my clients a lot, is that anger will help you say to something, come to the front, because anger wants to confront the thing that came to the front. Okay, so anger in itself is not an issue. Okay, anger wants to call out the very thing that's causing you an issue. Hey, you, come to the front, please, because we're ready to confront the issue at that point. So don't be afraid of your anger. Your emotions are messages to you that something is or isn't quite right. So whenever you're having some certain emotions, you just need to slow it down and start paying attention. What is the message my emotions are trying to tell me? If you feel down, if you feel sad, if you feel isolated, if you feel alienated, if you feel angry, if you feel frustrated, if you feel hostile, it's trying to tell you something. Something's not quite right. And anger usually is a great example of you actually feeling like your boundaries or your needs or your wants are not being met. So just pay attention to those things as well, right? And number 7 is my personal favorite and where I've done a lot more work around, because I really believe a lot more people need to understand this. Attachment styles, huge. Absolutely freaking huge. I've been watching so many videos. I probably could watch a million more videos, and I need to keep watching a million more videos as well to understand this more. But attachment styles has been huge. And let me just take this off the screen so that I can do this properly. Attachment styles, the 4 attachment styles are anxious, dismissive, fearful, avoidant, secure. I've done a lot more work around fearful avoidance as I've started learning about it more, because I've watched a lot more videos. And obviously I'm a dismissive myself, so I kind of understand that. I need to do a lot more work around the anxious attachment style. I do believe that I'm going to watch a lot more content to be able to understand it, read more around it. But what I would say about this aspect is that when you get an understanding of the attachment styles is paramount to a lot of our relationships. It saves people so much because it actually starts to really bring a parameter and a framework for the way that we actually attach emotionally connect to people in relationships, right? So for instance, an anxious person is always trying to prove that and they validate themselves through a relationship. They cling on to relationships to prove that they're worthy. And then you have dismissive people who tend to dismiss other people because they don't want to have they want to have to think about leaning on somebody or depending on them. Hyper independence, right? And so anxious person is over dependent, and then a dismissive person has got that hyper independence. And we've got fearful avoidance, which, I mean, it's been an interesting learning with about fearful avoidance. They oscillate between the two. They are both anxious and dismissive. And the crazy thing is they want love, but when love comes, they push it away. It's self-sabotage, right? And it's so intriguing to see how to learn about this, and then learning a lot more about secure communication, attachment, how secures move has really been eye-opening for myself in terms of helping my clients as well, because I really believe that when you get to a place of secure, the way you even react is that you respond, not react. When you're secure, you're not putting interpretations and narratives on what people do. When people are acting up, you don't think to yourself, it must be me. You're thinking to yourself, what's wrong with them? You don't ask what's wrong with you. You don't believe you're a defect. And this is so powerful for anybody who's out there who's going through any kind of situation, relationship right now, because having that secure understanding means that you stop thinking about the bad and the evil and the negative narratives that we spin ourselves. And there's a lot more other areas, like for instance, inner critical voice and stuff like that. What I would say is that obviously just through the last 100 hours of coaching, what's been really powerful for me is those key moments where there is a revelation that comes, some insight and understanding for the client, and when they actually realize, actually, this makes sense. This is making sense as to why I do what I do. This is making sense for why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. This is making sense for why the relationships are going the way they are in my life. And I want you to understand that, listen, you don't have to be alone in this situation. You know what I mean? I know we've got a few people in the room. I'm sure some people probably watch this back a little bit later on. I want you to understand that, listen, we're here to help. We're actually here to help. So if you're somebody who's going through some of these things, or there's some other areas that you believe that, you would love to be able to explore, I want you to be able to reach out to me. Look, use me while you can. And I'm being deadly serious. It's a reason why I believe that God has also allowed me to say, I'm not charging a specific price. And the reason is because I'm here. The amount of time we have, I don't know how much time I have here. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as in being alive or anything, but I mean that in the sense of being able just to offer myself freely, and to say, hey, look, if you need help, if you need coaching, maybe, therapy is a little bit expensive. Okay, cool. Maybe you can't afford to be paying a therapist every week. Then that's fine. Look, pay what you feel you can. I'm not here to rob you. You know what I'm saying to you? But I do want to see people get healed, right? And I believe that when you set people free, they set other people free. Right? If you're on fire and you stand next to somebody else, you're gonna catch fire too. So when people are getting healed and when people are going through their healing journey, you're dragging other people along. So I really want to encourage you guys, don't shy away. If you believe that, listen, hey, maybe it's a little bit too expensive, if you feel like it's a little bit too much, then by all means, look, pay whatever you feel you can. You know what I mean? Don't sit there and be like, no. Listen, take action. It's okay. We're here to help as much as possible, right? Also, my last thing of this, before I say this as well, is we also are doing another thing where I am trying to step out in faith, and I am doing some group coaching. The whole course is 4 weeks. And we'll do another 4 weeks again, another 4 weeks. And it is $97. I won't be lied to you. I put a price on it. Just makes it easier for me in this one, right? And it's a group coaching session. So whether I have one person or whether I have 100 people, right? I want to be able to help people. So I do solo coaching, absolutely, but I also do a group coaching. So if you're somebody who maybe works better in a group, or you want to be in an atmosphere of that, then please sign up for the group coaching. It's 4 weeks course. We're talking about boundaries the first 4 weeks. So we're talking about boundaries. And I want you guys to be able to tap into that. So if there's something that you're dealing with where you're not very clear on your boundaries, or you feel like people are always overstepping your boundaries, you're not able to communicate your boundaries, you feel like, people don't respect your boundaries, then this is the course for you. This is a 4 week program that I would love for you to tap into. It'll be a weekly call, about an hour and 20 minutes in the early hours in the morning if you're in America. If you're in UK, it's going to be 12 o'clock at lunchtime. And I really believe in this, right? I really do believe in it, because I believe that it gives me an opportunity to work behind the scenes with people as a group. And I believe that the group can also help shine, iron sharpens iron. So if you're somebody that likes a group kind of connection, group perspective, I want you to sign up, get yourself involved, sign up to the group coaching. There's a link in the chat as well. Just click on the link, or if you go on our community page, you can click on that as well, and get involved with the group coaching. I just want to be able to help as many people as I can, right? And the more I'm learning, the more burden I feel to be able to help people. So, we're just grateful for the opportunity that God has given us to be able to help as many people. So, that's something for you. What I would say is also I'm gonna now make a group. I'm gonna make a group where you guys will be able to maybe a Discord or a WhatsApp group. It depends how I want to do it. I'll figure it out in a few days' time. And if you're somebody, maybe the coaching is too much for you. Maybe coaching might not be necessarily that your aspect. Maybe you're somebody who just wants to be able to have access to resources. What I am going to do is I'm going to start a group for you guys. It will be a little subscription fee, probably like $10 a month, where I will just post pretty much every other day or a few days. I'll post the content that I actually watch. So I'll actually use the links that I actually watch and the books that I'm reading, and I'll post them into the group so you guys actually have access to these resources all the time. And that may be a little bit of a method for some people who are not necessarily wanting to get into coaching. Maybe it's a little bit too expensive. But, maybe, again, want to be part of a community. So we can do that as well. But, yeah, listen, I've enjoyed the last 100 hours of coaching. And there's been some really great moments. And what I would say is that one of the greatest thing for me personally also is that I'm actually learning. So I tell all my clients that, listen, you're not on this journey alone. I'm on a journey with you. And the reason why is because I want you to understand that as you're growing, I'm growing. I'm growing in my coaching, I'm growing in my authority, but I'm also growing in understanding, and I'm also growing in my knowledge of myself. Sometimes a client will say something and I'll be like, damn, that's probably why I do what I do. I need to go and research that. So I don't need to be afraid of the journey, because I'm on it with you as well. We're growing together. And we're here to support you and uplift you. So yeah, the sessions are usually around about 50 minutes long, and they are a great tool and resource as well, because this is your space, is your arena, it's your time to speak. And I'll get the clients to give you some testimonies as well. We've had some great moments. I mean, honestly, sometimes I'll be crying, bro. I can't even lie to you. I don't even want to lie to nobody. Me, I cry. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll be crying about it. So just wanted to just share that as well. So yeah, the last 100 hours been great, and I want to keep it nice and short. So I'm gonna get off in a second or two. But I want to appreciate everybody who has reached out to me so far. Please, if you have somebody who's a friend or family or whatever that you feel would also benefit, by all means, reach out to me. We'll get them booked in. My coaching link is in the description box. And please, just sign into my calendar. I think I'm booked up till I'm booked up now, July, for the beginning of July again. So we're cool. So it's getting it early before it gets booked up again. I realize I'm getting booked up quite quickly again. So we appreciate you guys. All right. So I'm gonna hop off, and we'll be back probably next month to talk about some more stuff about coaching again. Ephraim asked, when will the group meeting start? The group meeting start tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow. So in the early hour of the morning, if you're in America, Ephraim, if you're in America, then it's going to be 7 a.m. EST or 6 a.m. CST. So it's going to be an early start. If you're in UK, it's 12 lunchtime. And so it's a group call on every Thursday for 4 weeks, right? So the link is, I'm going to put a link in the chat again. And that you can obviously, is it too late? No, Ephraim, it's not too late. It's not too late. So you can join it. I put a link in the chat feed, Ephraim. All right, so you can sign up. Okay, but it's an hour and 20 minutes. About an hour and 20 minutes. There'll be some exercises in between. So how it'll work will be, I'll explain a little bit about what the topic is. There'll be some group exercises in between that time, as well. And we'll be able to work on some of the things in between. So yeah, please do shout me. If you're Ephraim, if you're ready, click on the link by all means. You can go on a community page as well. That will allow you to go on there. Let me actually pin that so you guys get it as well. But yeah, man, it's just been. I just can't wait to help more people. I can't lie to you. I was praying to God about this, saying, you know what, I didn't think. I think my own journey has been, sometimes I don't realize, the impact I can make, and sometimes I underplay, and this is my own trauma. I do sometimes underplay what help I can be to people, but I've seen in the last 2 months how much help I can offer, and I was like, nah, God, I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to do more. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to help as many people as I can. So I felt this burden to like read more, study more. It's actually why I've not really been on YouTube that much as well in the last few weeks as well. So you will see more content that will be more psychological in the next few weeks as I'm reading more, studying more. A lot more of my content will be more psychological, and in that space. So yeah, let me go. But yeah, I'd love to see you guys. Shout out to Ephraim, who says you've been there since 2019. We appreciate you, babe. Honestly. Yeah, we're in a new space, so I hope you guys are blessed by that as well. All right, so appreciate you guys. I need to do my Love Island reviews. I'm not able to catch up. It's so hard to catch up with all the work we're doing. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Still, we'll see you again very, very soon. Much appreciation. Ta-da.